Sweet.
Hello, Internet. Now I have to manually tweet this. PUP RPG Love Live. Twitch.tv TV/E1M1 Network. Okay. Alright. Everybody get registered for the Final Fantasy V Forge Out Fiesta?
No, I need to do that.
Yeah. I didn't even realize registrations were open yet. I did that this morning.
I was debating about whether I was going to try again. Like, I like that game, but with Mirror's Edge and Odin Sphere coming out Tuesday, and me not having beat Doom yet, and then Tokyo Mirage Sessions coming out in a couple weeks, I just don't know if I will realistically have time. How long did they normally give you? Like 3 months to do it? Or is it like a month?
Let me look. It's like a month and a half, I think. It's quite a while. I think it's till the end of August.
You know, I think if I theoretically replaced, the 15 minutes every hour that I'm messing with Avengers Academy with, like, my Game Boy, I bet I could do it.
Yeah, it goes from June 14th to August 31st, so it's like 2.5 months.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll...
or a month and a half, or some math.
Maybe in July I'll try it, depending on how Tokyo Mirage Sessions grabs me or doesn't.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I still think I've canceled almost all my other pre-orders for stuff, but I think I'm going to keep a hold on that just because it's Atlas and it's coming out on the Wii U, so I think it's fairly safe to assume there's only going to be one printing of that, and it's going to be small.
Yeah.
So...
Right now I'm real worried because I had to... Like, I never could get the special edition through Amazon, so I ordered it through GameStop. And
yeah.
I did it through GameStop online, and it did it in a weird way where I can't see my online order through their website.
That happens to me every time. I have to go look up my order by the order number.
Yeah, and I am terrified. Like, I've never had a good experience with something that is rare in quantity picking it up from GameStop. Like,
are you picking it up in a store or getting it shipped to you?
I'm picking it up in store.
Oh, yeah. I've always had it shipped to me, and I've had pretty good luck with them, and they've been in better shape than what Amazon usually sends. Amazon, almost every collector's edition I've gotten has been banged up and dinged in some way.
Yeah, Amazon really sucks at that.
And it drives me crazy because I'm, like, especially... Like, if I'm buying this big thing, not even that it's, like, some collector's thing or whatever, just put it in a box. Don't put it in one of those, like, bubble shipping, like, packages. Like, don't put it in a pouch. Yeah. That's not gonna turn out well.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess you just got to order something big enough to happen in there. Like the Atlas collections that are just disc size typically don't. But
true. Maybe I'll order a VCR at the same time.
The picture of the... That's a good strategy.
Yeah, just put it in the VCR and it'll be double protected.
Yeah, just find a $5 VCR.
Just order another printer. Those things are like $20 a pop.
Yeah.
Oh man. Mina, I hope you've played a lot of stuff.
I've played a lot of stuff, but there's like a couple of things I'm like, that's not an RPG. Stardew Valley is not an RPG, but I have played a lot of Stardew Valley.
Right. That's the one thing I've been staying away from. I think I would be really deep down that rabbit hole if I were to start.
Is it not an RPG? I thought it was supposed to be like like one of those grow... What's that Square Enix game everyone loves that you love? That's you grow stuff.
Oh,
I'm terrible at this.
Like a Harvest Moon thing?
Yes. Is it like Harvest Moon?
Yeah, it's Harvest Moon. Like, I don't know if what would you call that? I just call it like a farming sim.
Yeah. It's almost its own genre now that Stardew Valley is so big.
Yeah. I always said, you know what? literally somebody could have capitalized on this idea. I said numerous times that they needed to put a Harvest Moon on Steam. I was like, so many people would buy that.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
Stardew Valley comes out and it's like everybody's going nuts. And I'm like, this is the idea I've said ever since I started playing on the PC. Just put Harvest Moon on the PC.
I remember when Super NES emulation was getting real big, like late
Yeah.
90s, and as soon as everyone found out that Harvest Moon was really good, like in the whole emulation community, everyone's like, "Hey guys, have you ever played Harvest Moon? I lost like 4 days to this farming game.
It's like, why is this fun? I don't know.
Why am I still playing this?" Oh man. All right, well, are you guys ready to kick this thing off?
I am ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Going around the room, we have Musim.
Hi.
And we have Mina.
Hey.
Quick bit of programming news here at the very beginning. The TVGP Game Club Game of the Month this month is sorry, Stern Master, he just asked a question. The Twitch delay got him. The Game Club Game of the Month this month is Valkyria Chronicles. So if you haven't played Valkyria Chronicles, it's really good. And the whole community is playing it, so go to tvgp.tv/forum if you want to go chat with a whole bunch of other peeps and enjoy one of Sega's finest turn-based / third-person shooter RPGs. It's a bit of a weird combo, but it actually works. And to answer Stern Master, stick with it. It gets weird / good. All right, without further ado, Musim, what have you been playing this last month?
Well, mostly Doom, but I can't talk about that really here. So, kind of after last podcast, before Doom, BD, the Skyrim. Like I've been doing my Skyrim hole with all the mods, and I was getting a lot of crashes, and I thought it might be my computer, but I figured I'll just wipe clean and try again. So I did, and still get lots of crashes, unfortunately. And I think do
you think it's the mods you're using, or
I think like with my computer setup, the problem is this computer setup has always been kind of crashing, like it's crashed on Doom on me a time or two, and I think it's partly my graphics card. I think it's partly just some of the components of my computer are still damaged from the bad power supply I had a year or two ago.
It's prone to being crashy.
Yeah, and I don't like. Here's the mods I'm using. I'm using the follower. Let me not butcher this. There's no reason. I'll just start up mod.
Probably advanced follower or something.
Yeah, I'm using advanced followers. I'm using the 3D NPC. That's the one that adds like 50 people to it. I'm using SKSE quality world map. I'm using at least a dozen follower add-ons into it.
Yeah.
I haven't found them all, but I've gotten rid of the ones that don't have their own dialogue.
What sort of
I'm
blanking here.
Oh, no problem. I'm using Campfire and Frostfall, which I really, really like. I did not expect to like those as much as I have. They really made that one fairly intuitive and a lot less like managing an inventory page than I expected. I'm using Sky Mill and Immersive Patrols. Immersive Patrols I like the idea of, but it hasn't really clicked with me in terms of whether it's actually worked. Although I did run into the Fighters Guild, or the Companions, I mean, in an odd place. But I'm not convinced it's my setup, like, because I've kind of based it down and tried it with just a couple of them, and unless one of these is just horrible and known for crashing, and I'm not aware of it.
Hmm. Are you using Mod Organizer or are you using
Mod
Mod
Organizer.
Manager?
You
Okay.
you sold me on Mod Organizer, and
Yeah.
then I
It's complicated to look at, but then once you understand it, it's like it's
yeah.
great.
Well, and even what I did this last time when I uninstalled Skyrim and uninstalled all the mods, I didn't even use the automatic installs in the mods. Like I used
Yeah.
manual install on all of them to make sure that nothing screwed anything else up. And
Cleanest of installs.
yeah, so the only mods that I'm using that are not really managed by Mod Organizer are a couple ones on Steam I couldn't get anywhere else, which is
Yeah.
Smelt Down, which lets me break down swords and armors and stuff that I couldn't before to get new raw materials.
Ooh, nice.
Um, and I don't remember what the rest of these are, but there's only a couple of them, and they're all fairly. I would be surprised if it was one of them, but
Right.
I don't know. For the most part, I can live with it. I just think my computer is slowly dying, my hard drives are slowly dying, and I need to hurry up and save up money, and replace everything. I'm just unfortunately a couple months out from it, so. Kind of what I've been doing with this Skyrim character is I'm doing a giant big circle walk around where I'm not like the only fast travel I'm doing is to quickly turn in a thieves guild burglary or one of those B quests that you do for the thieves guild to get the vendors and things to show up.
Oh, right.
But for the most part, I'm just walking everywhere, passing out from hypothermia, and right now, the latest city I got to was I just went completely blank. It's the place where the High King was, and his wife now is
Solitude.
yes, Solitude, which is I don't know, it's kind of nice. Like the 50 companions mod, it adds like you walk in Solitude and there's that shady guy that's like, hey, go turn off the lighthouse light. And this character I'm playing right now is the goal of being, like a Stormcloak and kind of evil. But like I have a self-motivation for her now because of these mods, in that she wants revenge on the Empire for putting her in a dungeon at the beginning. So, like, I go in to turn off the lighthouse, and I do, and then after I'm done sneaking to do that, I go in the door downstairs, and there's this extra NPC who's like, yeah, that guy asked me to turn off the light, but man, I just started thinking about it and kind of felt bad about it, and I couldn't make myself go back to Solitude. It was kind of this like funny but kind of slightly heart-wrenching story of this character's situation.
Then you stab him and keep moving.
I didn't. I thought about it, but
see ya, sucker.
I don't know. It was already broken a little bit, like the immersion, because I had just turned off the lighthouse and no one really cared.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know. It was a nice touch to things. I figure after I do the one big walk around, then I'll probably start concentrating on thief and assassin quests, and maybe try and get some of the other dragon shouts. It's kind of weird because there are barely any dragons in the world right now, which I never remembered being a thing, but I guess I just haven't advanced the story far enough for that to be a regular thing.
Yeah, I only played that once, and I feel like once you get to a point in the story, it basically flips that switch, and it's like, all right, you're gonna have a lot of dragons now.
Yeah. Well, and the other part is I found a lot more non-pervy downloadable NPCs who talk,
right.
which is appealing, but I haven't actually found them in-game yet, and I'm aware I can either go to the page or look at the map compass, but I want to just kind of come upon them naturally.
Yeah.
So I think one of them is in Winterhold, which, I'm in Solitude, so my next stop is going to be like Dawnguard or Morthal, and then I'll go over to Winterhold. Or is that the college town? I don't remember.
That's been... I don't... I played Skyrim on the 360, so I don't know how many years that's been since I played. You're talking about Skyrim, and I was like, I remember some of those things. I remember enjoying it, but maybe it's been a while.
Maybe Winterheld's the college.
Yeah, Winterhelm's the college.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I started doing those quests there, and I was sort of like, well, I just finished the game, so maybe I'm done.
All those places are next, and I'm semi-terrified of going to those places because I have a hard enough time keeping my character warm. Like,
Right.
like I got like a fur cloak and a hood and like all this heavy armor on, and like I still will freeze to death, like during the day.
Jeez.
At times, like I will carry a torch around with me, and that helps a little bit. But hopefully, I will increase my endurance side of the frostfall trait trees. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know. I'm slowly going through that. So, truth be told, today hit, and I realized I hadn't played any RPGs. So I started looking through stuff, and I thought, well, maybe I can play Chrono Trigger. And I thought, no, we always talk about Chrono Trigger
Because it's really good.
So then I thought I should try and finish my game on The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
So I loaded that up.
Which Witcher?
The first one.
Which Witcher?
So in the first one, I am in the city, whatever city it is. Like I didn't play it long enough to even figure out what the name of the city was. And I went to some party and talked to people, and kind of when I was leaving the party, I ran into the situation where this character that I'm pretty sure I hated before was basically getting denounced of his position, and I had the option to defend him or not. And he was kind of helping me during the party, so I was like, well, I guess the storyline is not immediately killing him. So
Right.
I will take him up on that. And I kind of wandered around, and it's kind of hard to... It's a hard game to jump back into.
Yeah, I with the newest DLC coming out of Witcher 3, I reinstalled Witcher 3 on my PS4, and I'm sort of like, I never finished the first DLC, and I don't remember where I'm at. I'm a little worried about hopping back into it, and I certainly can't start that game back over from the beginning because I'm way too deep into it, but I'm a little worried that I'm going to hop in and sort of be like, why did I like this game again? What was I doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to play Witcher 3, and I keep almost like buying it when I see it on sale, but I keep getting that nagging thought in the back of my mind of just finish out Witcher 1. I don't think you have that much left, because I think Act 2 or whatever was the biggest one, and I'm in, I don't know, whatever act that city is that's after Act 2. Like, I think there's this city act, and then I think there's the big war between the elves and humans in that area.
Right.
And then the game's over. And I've always heard Witcher 2 is amazing, and they fix everything wrong with Witcher 1, but...
And
anyway.
Witcher 3 is really good, and chat is saying, Society in chat is saying, the DLC is bigger, it's almost bigger than the original game, which... I just like blacked out for a second. That's so big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood and Wine just came out.
Yeah, I never finished the first one. I started it, and it came out. I started Witcher 3 late, so when the first DLC came out, I was finishing the game proper, and I was like 70 hours in. I was thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can do like 20 more hours right now, no matter how good that first DLC is. I feel like I kind of need to step back and take a break before I get to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw The Witcher 3. That's too much of a good thing. I don't like it anymore. I don't really want to get to that point.
Yeah. I like a lot of the world building Witcher stuff sells me on, but I hate the idea of spending like, and I'm sure I'm a hypocrite in this feeling, but I hate the idea of being Geralt for 80 hours in an open world game. I would rather make my own character. But
in regards to Witcher 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about that too, because I think when you think of open world RPGs, you think of something like Skyrim or Fallout, where it's very much your character and your story, but with what they fill that world with and the story they tell and how good the quests are, it was pretty soon that I really didn't care. Like, once you get past the prologue, it was sort of like, all right, I'm Geralt, and I'm doing this stuff, and I've got this story I'm going through, and the choices you get to make on so many of the main quests and the side quests, I feel like go a really long way to meeting that end, where it's kind of like you get to make these choices where maybe nobody really wins, but at least you're influencing your storyline in a pretty major way throughout these decisions. So it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of the middle ground between something like Skyrim and then maybe more traditional non-open world RPG.
Well, and I think I'll probably play it like you did, where you put it on the setting where you don't have to worry about a lot of the inventory management and a lot of the potion juggling.
Yeah, I just put it on, I think it was just normal. Where it's just like, I don't know, you want to play The Witcher? Like, whatever. And I never found that it was challenging enough, but I was able to get through stuff and over-level a little bit throughout the game. So I felt like there was still a little bit of a challenge, but I could kind of beat the game, like sort of out-level the game by a little bit. It wasn't one of those things where it's so easy that, I'm fighting the final boss and I'm like 30 levels ahead. I think I was like 5. So it was a little bit easier than I would expect. So I feel like normal is what I would expect normal to be. It was good. It wasn't too hard. It wasn't too easy. It was just kind of normal.
Well, on Witcher 1, I still think that game is I think there's some interesting things in that game because I started it expecting this really old experience, and it was, the graphics are kind of 360 era.
Yeah.
But like the storytelling and character interactions and writing was still pretty decent. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't super awkward, even if some of the voice acting wasn't so great.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it has those not sexist at all cards you get for your conquest.
Right, which thankfully they drop pretty quickly.
Yes.
2 and at the end of 2 have some effects on 3, and I think some of the character interactions, there are some interesting quests in 3 where you kind of pair up with a person and you do like half a dozen long quests with them, and there's this kind of self-contained but longer storyline. It seemed like some of that in my game, because it kind of, when Witcher 2 came out, it seemed like the common feedback was, well, you really need to play Witcher 1. I don't know. I don't think that's true. And it's especially not true of Witcher 3, but it seemed like everybody was like, wait, you haven't played Witcher 1? Like, go play that before 2. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want to. It's really, nothing about it clicks with me. So I think I just skipped 2 at all. And I feel like that's kind of a bummer, because I feel like that one was, from everything I've heard, is so much better than 1.
Yeah. Well, and part of the reason I want to do this, and I know it's not required at all to enjoy the experience of the Witcher games, but I know you can import, like, there's some sort of decision importing between the games.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine it's anything more than a lot of the Mass Effect type stuff where it doesn't, you get an extra conversation option or something. But
well, it's bigger than that from what I was reading. I guess the decision at the halfway point of 2 and at the end of 2 have some effects on 3, and I think some of the character interactions, there are some interesting quests in 3 where you kind of pair up with a person and you do like half a dozen long quests with them, and there's this kind of self-contained but longer storyline. It seemed like some of that in my game, because it kind of, Dragon Age Inquisition style, it kind of made a world for me. That stuff was a little bit off. So I think some of that stuff will be a little bit more consistent if you're carrying your save through each one of those games.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Hopefully I'll get there. But that is all I played, RPG-wise.
Real quick before we move on, Society is saying, you don't have to play Witcher 1, everyone skips it. I haven't even played Witcher 2. The books and the glossary tell you everything about the characters in the past in 3. I would agree with that as well. I wouldn't hesitate for anybody that wants to play 3. Just jump right in. The codex in the game is really good. And sort of like, hey, you ran into this dude, and apparently you've known each other forever. They have, a couple of pages. It's not a tome or anything, but it has a couple of pages where it's like, look, you did all this stuff in Witcher 1, you did all this stuff in Witcher 2. Now you're caught up.
Gotcha.
So it does a really good job. Mina, what have you been enjoying this past month? Hopefully enjoying.
So I've been playing a lot of games, but I wouldn't say many of them were RPGs. But the games that I did play that were RPGs, starting from the top, was I beat Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door for the first time ever.
Ooh.
And that was a really good game. That's a really good game.
That's one of the Paper Mario games that people really, really love, right?
Yeah. It's the second one. I actually never played the first one. I didn't even know that there was one that came before that one until I was streaming, and someone was like, "So have you played the first one?" And I was like, "There's a first one."
Yeah, the first one came out on N64, right?
It's something like that.
Yeah, because Super Mario RPG was on Super NES, and I think there was like just a Paper Mario game on N64.
Yeah, it was just completely just Paper Mario. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go play that because everybody was like, it's just as good as this one, and I was like, well, that's a selling point. I'll go play it. So I beat that game. So there's one thing about that game, like if I could just like cite one thing that I didn't like that modern games have, thankfully, nobody does this anymore, is that I died to the final boss, and there are a lot of cutscene and dialogue with the final boss. And when you die, you have to go all the way back to the start of this like cutscene segment and rewatch it all over again. And like they have like I don't know how to call it because I want to say Earthbound, but then I'm like, you guys aren't gonna know that reference. Like in the middle of the boss fight, there's this big long cutscene where you're basically building a spirit bomb.
Right.
I don't know. And I'm just kind of like I have to rewatch the scene that was pretty meaningful the first time I watched it. But, now that I've died to the boss, I really don't want to watch the scene again. And then when I died again, I was just like, I really don't want to see that a third time even. That's a little much.
That reminds me of Final Fantasy X. Like there was that one Seymour fight, and there was that one fight against that undead lady who, like, you would die. She would turn your party into zombies and then one-shot you. Yeah, and it was like, cool, I get to watch all these cutscenes again. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And then she one-shots you again. It's like, cool, I will just mute this, I guess, and listen to something else.
Right. So, I mean, that was like, I have no real complaints about the game other than whenever I would mess up on a boss, I'd have to rewatch or retread something all over again. Because this is back in the era of games that are just like, you game over here. Where was your last save point? And it was like, oh no, don't do this to me.
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
I'm like, please. So, other than that, like, the game was really, really good. I found myself not really utilizing a lot of items that I probably should have, which was probably the thing that undid me at the end of the game. Was I went to the final boss and I had nothing to use item wise, and then I was just like, I'm streaming this right now, but I have to backtrack all the way out of this dungeon, and it's gonna take me like 45 minutes to leave this dungeon and get all the things I need and then come back. Ooh. So I'm gonna cut the stream off, and
I'll be back in an hour and a half.
Right?
Oh, man.
Because I was like, that's not entertaining. So oh my gosh. So I did beat the game. I really liked it. It was a great game. The other game that I played a significant amount was Bravely Second.
Yeah, I've been playing that too. How far are you?
Okay, so this is a still pretty brand new game, so I don't want to spoil it.
I have made it to the academic town in the desert.
Okay,
That's where I'm at.
past you.
Okay.
I'm past you. So now I know what to be very careful about what I say.
Okay.
So in the academic town, did you get the little mini game?
Chompcraft.
Oh my gosh, I can't stop.
Chompcraft is really weird. So for anybody that hasn't played Brave the Second, Chompcraft is on the top screen, it's your 4 party members, and the bottom screen, it's like this, it's almost like an egg crate little layout. And basically, your party members on the top screen are making
plushies.
Plushies, and chomps are like these weird, like bulbous green. They're kind of ugly cute.
If you know Pokemon, they look like a trap niche.
Yeah, they do. Chompcraft is really confusing because I don't really know what it does.
Oh my gosh, I can't stop. I have millions and millions of Chomp points at the moment. Like I've got everything unlocked with Chompcraft.
Yeah.
It's gosh.
Does it seem to unlock anything in the game proper, or is it just this separate thing?
From what I heard from someone, later on in the game, you will unlock a place where you can spend your Chomp points at.
Oh no.
And this is where you can purchase some things that people may have been looking for in the game, like without spoiling anything. Like
sure.
Like these are like the items that you're like, man, it would be really nice if I had this item. Where did they hide it in this game? And it's hidden behind Chompcraft.
Okay. So I will ask a question that is potentially spoilery. So heads up for people that are not interested in that. One of the points of contention that people are leveraging against Bravely Second is that when you go and you do a side quest or you do an asterisk quest, you can only choose one of the jobs, and it usually gives you 2 of them. Can you spend your Chomp points on getting the other asterisk, or do you truly have to go through a second playthrough?
I think the thing that people should do is maybe they need to beat the game before they complain about only being able to choose one asterisk. I think that's the answer to that question without spoiling anything.
Sure.
So if that's the complaint someone has, I immediately say you have not beaten the game.
Right. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better because I part of the problem I'm having with Bravely Second is it's really well made, and it's another Bravely game, which means it's good out of hand, and they've done all these improvements to the battle system, and it's faster and it's easier to play, and it's all that stuff. But the beginning of the game had me controlling 2 characters I don't like, waiting to get to the 2 characters I do like from the first game, and retreading a lot of the ground from the first game. So I've been feeling myself kind of pulling away from it over the last couple weeks. Have you, once you've got past the point, the Chompcraft point, once you've gotten past that, how have you felt about Bravely Second as kind of a sequel to Bravely Default?
So I think the first thing is that when you pick up that game, you need to quickly progress the story to the point where you get the 4 characters.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's step 1. Whatever you want to do, stop doing it and just like progress the story.
Yeah, because I think I got all 4 characters after, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours. Like it wasn't that, but I kind of dilly-dallied around a little bit too much. And I feel like if you're going to pick up Brave the Second, I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you're going to have serious problems with the fact that like, oh, I'm wasting all my time doing this. It's just like, just hurry up and get your 4 characters.
Yep.
And like let's start getting these job asterisks. And I'm playing this on the hardest difficulty too. So I can already tell you like certain bosses I was just like, I'm done with you. I'm really, really done with you. I am very, very done. So if there's anybody who's like frustrated at bosses in general, I have met the frustrations. There was one boss, like everybody who is not playing this on the hardest difficulty has been like, really, he was a problem? I was like, he was the biggest problem.
Oh wow.
But anyways, I think I think as soon as you get your 4 characters, and by then you're in academia,
Yep.
I think things will start to pick up more steam. Um, I'm trying to think of what was the point when I finally tipped over and I was like, okay, I'm in this. Um, and I honestly think it was just the more jobs that I unlocked, the more fun I had. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's like, you know, the bestiary thing that you unlock
Yep.
with the
Oh, I
writings.
love that stuff.
I can't believe I don't want to grind monsters for levels. I grind monsters to get more story information, which is incredible to me.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I wish that more games did this. So for anybody that hasn't played Bravely Second, Bravely Default did sort of a similar thing, but it wasn't as well done as this. Basically, in Bravely Second, the main character Yu is carrying around a big book, much like the D journal, I think it was in the first one. And he's writing all this stuff about their adventures and whatnot. But once you get all 4 characters, they're all writing in the book, and they all write. The more enemies you defeat of a certain enemy type, they start filling in their interactions, talking to each other and
it's
talking
cute.
about it. And it's really well written, and they're all really short, but I think it goes a really long way. It's almost like the Tales series with skits. You know, it
Yeah.
adds just a little bit to every character, kind of a little bit here and there as you're going through the game, and it's so good. And I think one thing I was kind of surprised about is that they keep coming up with new jobs, which is kind of fun. Like the charioteer job is crazy, where eventually you're able to equip 4 weapons on a person, and you're just absolutely decimating. You know, every time you attack, your proficiency with every weapon goes up, and you're hitting potentially 4 times, you know, every time you swing. It's just, I like that they're finding new ways to add more stuff to that game. I just kind of wish that the beginning was a little more truncated, and then that the stuff that happened about an hour in didn't rely so heavily on having to play the demo.
I actually didn't play the demo, so I went in this like ultra blind on like the new jobs and everything, and I was a little as mystified on a couple of things, but what's the word I'm looking for here? I would say so aside from hurrying up to quickly get before I forget this, because it's in my mind and I'm like, as soon as I move on to another subject, I'm gonna forget this because I know I am. You get to pick old jobs again in this game. I don't know if you've gotten to the point where that's happened. Well, yeah, you have, because you brought it up. Asterisk, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm on the first Asterisk quest now, where I can do either the thief, or I think there's going to be something else. I just haven't
Right.
run into it yet.
So I did want to bring this up because like maybe some people don't know. You will have a choice of picking either getting the summoner asterisk or the swordmaster asterisks
Okay.
or whatever. Uh, and because you have to side with basically the opposite person, it may seem like siding with the summoner, who if you played the first one, is kind of, you know, out there a little bit.
Sure.
You should side with her, because while I'm not trying to spoil that the asterisks don't matter, that's probably the only one that I would say maybe maybe kind of matters, because that one does actually prevent you from getting something later. So
Oh, okay. So you want the summoner asterisk?
no, side with the summoner,
Oh,
which
so you
is
get
to
the
get
sword,
the
whatever.
swordmaster.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I wanted anyways, because the swordmaster has like some pretty cool abilities, and I thought to myself, like, summoner wasn't really that great of a job in
No.
Bravely Default.
Yeah,
So
the MP requirements for summoner and the damage you were doing in the first one were way out of whack.
yeah, I heard that summoner's good in this one, but I'm just kind of like, the swordmaster's good too, and I like all of their whatchamacallit, their supporty abilities. What do you call it? The things you attach onto stuff. I can't think.
I think it's just support abilities.
Okay, the support abilities.
I think so. As soon as you asked that, I was like, oh god, I don't know.
I don't know. I like them though, so that's the that's that. What was I don't now I don't remember what the other thing I was going to say about the game. But at least I said that.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I may have saved somebody some frustration down the road.
Yeah, and that's my problem too. Like, I don't want to get caught in the ending of Bravely Default, but I don't want to spoil the game for myself, really.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going with the flow as much as possible. I need to get back on it because it's not really a bad game. I just, when I picked it up, I was sort of like, all right, this is more Bravely. Okay, let's go through this dungeon again. Cool. All right.
I think oh, there's one other thing. It doesn't really matter if you side with the thief or the what's the other job?
Red Mage,
Red
I almost
Mage?
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, it seemed like it was going that direction.
Yeah, I sided with the. Originally, I was thinking like, oh, I should like thief. I can steal stuff. I was like, but Red Mage, those abilities though, I remembered them, so I sided with the thief to get the Red Mage asterisk, which I'm happy for because, well, again, it doesn't really matter. There is a weapon or something. I forget what it is. Gloves? I don't know. Remember? But it was in inside the dungeon where you go to do the thief Red Mage asterisk or whatever that has steel on it. So
okay.
I literally had no loss of losing the thief asterisk. I know he has some abilities that are good, but it's just kind of like, well, steel was my main concern.
Yeah, obviously.
and I got it now, so.
Is it always that you get the opposites asterisk from the one you side with?
Yeah, always
Okay.
the opposite. So
Interesting.
if you,
That's
and
good to
it
know.
warns you. It does warn you.
Okay, so it's like, hey, if you pick this one, you get the
Right.
Red Mage asterisk.
Yeah,
Okay. The one game Red Mage is really good in.
But and I'm at the part now. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I'm trying to. Well, the world's pretty much the same. So, are
Right.
you sure about this decision? And then
Okay,
you're like,
good.
yes. And I think it might even do. Are you really sure? Because you only
Zelda
get to
style.
do this once. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I am sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you always get the side of the opposite you're siding with.
Okay.
But like I said, it's like for the most part, I would say that there's no big concern there. I would just say, if the reason why you want thief is for steel, there is an item in that dungeon that can give you steel, and then
Okay.
just get Red Mage asterisk because Red Mage asterisk is amazing.
Yeah. The one game Red Mage is really good in.
But and I'm at the part now. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I'm trying to. Well, the world's pretty much the same. So so I guess that could be one way of not spoiling it. So the world where the Earth crystal was on,
Yeah.
I no, not on crystal anymore, am I? I don't remember. It's the one with the volcano.
Oh, okay.
Is it
Yeah,
fire?
yeah. That like smelting area.
Yeah, the smelting area. That's where I'm at right now. I've just been kind of waffling around there.
Yeah.
I found 2 different asterisks that I need to choose between. I think I like the story. I think the more you play it, the more you learn to it's definitely one that you have to get past that initial wall of, okay, we got to lay down the story and
Right. Here's these new characters.
There's new characters, and now we got to make you love these characters. And
Yeah. I was very happy when you got Tiz and Adia pretty quickly.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Getting them.
Because I like both of those characters, especially now that Tiz isn't in the main character position. I feel like he's a little bit more fun, almost as kind of like a straight man.
Yeah. I think they definitely picked the right characters to bring back because Idio is a fan favorite. And
Oh yeah, she's my favorite hands down.
yeah, the way they have incorporated Agnes into the story, I feel works better this way.
Yep.
Because I'm not saying that I hated her in the first game, but I always felt that it was like she made a really weird sort of main character.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was more like you have the most. I don't want to say unwilling, but she wasn't willing to do a lot of the things, and it was just like, why are you in command of this ship?
Yeah, and she didn't
Like,
have a ton of motivation either.
back. I mean, she had a goal that she wanted to do, but this is like I guess the thing is like I made a comparison to Yuna about this, whereas like Yuna understood the consequences of her journey and what she had to do, and she just basically like, there were things that she was just like, this is how it has to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she wasn't willing to step on and ignore like the plight of helping others.
Right.
At the same time, she was willing to be swayed a little bit. It was just Anya's grated on me with her.
Well, a lot of Anya's was sort of like, whatever you want, Tiz. And he's like, I guess we'll do this. Does that sound right? Everyone's like, yeah, sure, I guess.
Sure,
I mean, I don't know.
The stupidest group of heroes ever.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, hey, it didn't work the first time. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll work this time. It's just like, you
Good God.
guys. You guys.
Still a really great game.
Yeah.
Once it's all said and done, I enjoyed it.
And I think Bravely Seconds, well, at least as far as I've gotten, it's really good. I've heard that there is a part of the game, when you get to the ending, that if you don't understand what you're supposed to do for New Game Plus, look it up and don't try to...
Don't just poke at it.
Yeah, don't just poke at it.
Yeah.
And I've heard like some people complain that they hated that. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's there because everybody gripes about it. It's like something that like it's been spoiled. That's been spoiled for me. That there's something that happens.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Plus,
It's one of those things when it came out in Japan, everyone's like, all right, we're doing this again. There's something at the end again. I was just like, it can't be that bad, but I will keep it in mind once I start getting closer to figure out like, all right, I feel like I'm getting close. What's this thing?
Yep. So that's the second game that I played. The third game that I played is one that I bought a long time ago, and I didn't play it at all because I don't know. I think I played Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. And I mean, I picked it up on release and I played enough of it. And then at some point I was just looking at it and I'm like, I'm a little, I think I've had too much Pokemon in my life.
Right.
I think that might have to do with X and Y being such a really, really, really good Pokemon game that I played it well after, its release, and I was just playing it constantly throughout the months afterwards. So I kind of got like, I don't know what to call it, maybe like Assassin's Creed syndrome, where it was just kind of like, okay.
There's another one?
Another one? I
don't know.
I've been playing it.
Well, and you were playing some of the Mystery Dungeon stuff too, so like you were kind of getting double Pokemon.
I was, but yeah. I mean, I think it really has to do with too much X and Y, and the fact that Sapphire was one of the Pokemon games that I really loved, and so it's one that the story is very familiar to me. So when I immediately got introduced to the game, it was just kind of like, I've been here. Nothing's new, nothing's surprising me. So I'm not having a good time.
Right.
So I put it down. I picked it up and I got past the areas, like a couple of the gyms that I had been, and now I'm in this game. I'm like, I don't recognize this Pokemon game at all. I played this game, so I apparently I just needed to go a little bit further, and I would have had a blast, or maybe I just needed to set it down. Either way, it's a really good Pokemon game, and I'm thinking to myself like, maybe I need to put this down before November. Like, now that I'm thinking about this out loud, this might be a good time to stop playing it, because then I don't get burnt out on the Pokemon series, because I really want.
How are you going to import your Pokemon list into the new one if you don't play
That's
it?
true.
It's okay because I have a Pokebank. I pay that service that Nintendo runs, the little Pokemon banks.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't remember how much it is. It's pennies. It's pennies
Yeah.
to me. It's pennies to me to have to just like throw my Pokemon onto the thing after I'm done with the game, so I can just put them all there for the next one and pull them all out and
Take them out of storage.
not have to like get my another 3DS and sit there and trade back and forth
Right.
for hours on end.
Over IR.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't do that as
Jeez.
a kid. Yeah, I did. But so already I'm excited for Sun and Moon. There's not much to say about Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. The only thing that I love that people have brought up that is that the male pro tag for Sun and Moon looks like a Team Aqua reject, and I'm like, I love that because he's got the whole look going for Team Aqua, and I'm just like, that is great.
Oh man, I was looking at that Sun and Moon. I might actually pick that up because one of the starters is a cat Pokemon, so I'm like already 100% in.
Is
It's
it
adorable.
like Litten or something?
Something adorable. It's like some fire cat. I mean, that's all you need to get me in.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play that Digimon game they came out with? I know that's sacrilege talking about Pokemon.
Well, no. I've never watched Digimon, and I never did anything with the Digimon. Like that's all foreign to me. I was into Cardcaptor Sakura and Pokemon back in the day of Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, that era. So I didn't get into those two, but I got into the other two.
Right.
So, but what I've heard is that Digimon game is really, really good, and that's from like fans though. So I don't know how good it actually is, but
I've heard that too. But it's such like an underground popularity. It's so hard to determine.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like would somebody who doesn't know a thing about Digimon like enjoy it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's been such a long-standing series that I don't know if I've ever gotten that answer. Like Pokemon, like you could probably pick up Sun and Moon and figure it out. Like that can be your first Pokemon game, or so can any other Pokemon game. But I've never gotten that impression from Digimon. It might be true, it might not be, but it just never seems like anyone's like, yeah, just hop on in, the water's fine. You can pick up any of them.
I've never thought of Digimon as an actual game, even though it's based, like the cartoon was always based on digital stuff.
Yeah.
But like I heard that PS4 one or whatever it is that came out recently is really good. I was just curious. I don't know. If there's an off week, maybe I'll go pick it up, but that off week definitely will not be June.
For the rest of this year is probably pretty full.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy 15, Persona 5, fingers crossed.
Yeah, E3 is in, what is it, a week and a half? So hopefully we get a Persona 5 announcement then.
I really
release
hope
date,
so.
at least. I need it.
I actually still to this day have not been spoiled on anything Persona 5 related. The only thing that I've seen is YouTube has suggested me videos, and I now know what the main character looks like.
So you've seen thumbnails and stuff?
I've seen a thumbnail of the main character.
Yeah. I feel like with the stuff that they have put out, I will obviously not spoil it, but I think if you liked Persona 4's style, I think Persona 5 extends that in a really exciting and really natural way where you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, that's a new Persona game in 2016. Cool.
I've heard that a lot of people have said it looks like Catherine Persona.
There are certain parts of it. There's one scene in the trailer that has like a cutaway that looks very much like Catherine, but I think you can tell it's the Catherine engine, but it's kind of 5 versions after that. You know, like it looks like it has the same DNA, but the visuals and what they're presenting and the style is just so far removed and like so evolutionary from what Catherine was presenting that I think you can say they share the same DNA, but beyond that, it's just like you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, that's Persona 5. Like the same way when you looked at Persona 4, you're like, okay, that's a new Persona game. Like the other one had style, this one has more style. Persona 5 sort of like, oh, okay, well you have a lot of style in this thing.
Oh, hey, and money-making idea for everyone. Get 2 copies of the strategy guide. Sell one a year after release.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a real investment opportunity.
They are almost always worth more than the game, I've noticed.
Yep.
So,
and that'll probably be another thing that just gets one printing.
yeah. Assuming they get one, I feel like they missed 1 or 2 of the games that I thought would have them. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But okay, so I blinked. Oh my gosh.
Cool.
So
Sorry, major
we suddenly got on Persona 5, and I was thinking like, oh my gosh. Well, I haven't been spoiled on anything other than the fact that it looks very Catherine-y or something to that effect, and I've seen what the main character looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this subject.
We were talking about Pokemon, and then I derailed us
right.
into everything else. I
Persona
apologize.
I don't know how that happened, but it did. So the final game that I played, and I did not play much of it because I realize I'm probably going to not play it until I beat a couple of other things, is I played Kingdom Hearts, a game I've never actually played.
The very first one?
The first one, yes.
Oh,
I'm
man.
not alone.
So,
I've only played like the first hour, and I've never played anything
Boy,
else.
what an experience that has to be playing that for the first time.
right? So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, it looks like I mean it looks really good. So I just haven't I haven't actually really played much of it. I got to Destiny Islands, and I was doing stuff on Destiny Islands, like crafting a boat.
The terrible intro. Yeah, the first 2 games have really bad intros.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was like, what am I playing? Because I don't think it was supposed to be like this. Maybe I'm confused.
You are like 10 minutes away from it turning into Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Like, the game takes a sudden turn, like all of a sudden on Destiny Island, and you're like, okay, crazy. So, oh man, I love Kingdom Hearts so much. Oh.
So I haven't actually, like I said, I haven't actually played that much of it, and the main reason why is I know that Zero Escape Time Dilemma is going to come out at the end of this month.
Yes.
And I promised a couple people that I was going to play and beat and upload the first and the second game to YouTube, and then play through the third one when it comes out and upload that to YouTube. And I realized that I couldn't possibly play Kingdom Hearts and all of these other games. I was like, I need to stop. I need to beat now I have to go beat 999, Virtue's Last Reward. So you guys are gonna have to you'll find out next next PUP if I kept up to that, because I will have I should have all those done, and I should be playing Zero Time Dilemma at that point, which I am.
I'm uncontrollably excited to figure out where, because it's not a sequel and it's not a prequel. And for everybody else, like Mina and I, that have played those 2 games, somehow that makes sense.
I am so excited. I
can't believe he has gotten a chance to make 3 of these games. Like, after the first one, I was like, everybody needs to play this. This is the only game that's ever going to be made.
Yeah, so that's like one of the saddest stories ever, was this guy who, he made the first one. It flopped so bad in Japan. It went well everywhere else in the world, but in Japan, it flopped bad. And so then they were like, okay, so we're going to not let you have this in your story because we think sales will be better if you do this. So he begrudgingly had to change the story to fit more of what the Japanese people would want. Right. And it flopped again in Japan, and then the company was like, yeah, we're not going to make your third game. Sorry.
We're not going to do that again.
And so, like, this guy was just like, he was so upset. And on the flip side, over at Oh no. Is it Spike Chunsoft
Yes.
who did Danganronpa?
Yep.
Okay. Whew.
Pull
I'm
that
like,
out of the
oh
archives.
goodness, oh goodness. So like over there, they were having, great success with Danganronpa,
Yeah.
and then like I guess he made friends with the guy who did Danganronpa, and the guy was like, yeah, let's take your game idea over to Spike Chunsoft, and I'm guessing that like uh whatever company owned Zero Escape, because now I don't remember whatever company did.
Axis published it here.
Yeah, but I don't remember
I
who.
have to look it up. I don't. It was some smaller
Right?
company, I think.
So that's why I can't remember.
I'm
So
just
like,
gonna look it up.
because like I said, the game did really well everywhere else besides Japan.
And it's crazy because oh no, Spike did. Spike put it out in Japan, which is now
Okay.
Spike Chunsoft.
So where's Danganronpa
Oh
come
no,
from?
now I'm gonna have
Now
to
I've
look it
got
up.
now I've got them all shuffled in my head. Um. Okay. So, anyways, I know that basically the sad story was he eventually got to talking to the creators of Danganronpa, and they were the ones that basically helped make this game a reality. And I am I could not want this game more if I tried.
And it's so crazy because I feel like it's unfortunate because the DS release of 999 is really good and it's still really good. And unfortunately, when they put out the iOS release, they removed all the puzzles. And
They did what?
yeah, and it turned out
Okay.
to be just like a straight visual novel. But the problem with 999 is, especially near the end of the game, the puzzles are actually really important to the story.
Right.
So, and it's actually kind of important to play it on the DS in a way that I don't want to spoil for anyone.
Yeah, I had tears in my eyes at the end of the game while I
That
was
was
trying to do the final puzzle. I was like, hold on, game. I need to close you for a second
yeah.
and
Hold
just
on, I
wipe
need
these
to.
eyes.
I can't recommend 999 and Virtue's Last Reward enough because
Can you believe there are people who tell you that you don't need to play 999? And I
well,
and I and I I flip out every time somebody says that. I'm like,
that to me
don't
is
lie to people.
that's
You have to play
insane.
that game. You have to. And they're like, "Oh, but I like it's so old." I'm like, "No, listen. I don't care if you have to go to
It's sprites and
YouTube."
text.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, follow a guide to get this ending, then
Yep.
this ending, and if you want like some extra flavor endings, pick these two, and then ignore the
Yeah.
rest. And
Get
just
the
do
axe ending.
like the
Yeah.
axe ending's good.
Get the safe ending.
Get the
Yeah.
safe ending.
Yeah. I feel like when I played 999 for the first time, I think getting all endings, including the bad ones, was maybe like 20 hours.
It wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad, and Virtue's Last Reward is actually shorter because of the flow chart
Yeah.
menu thing it gives you, where it's like, oh, I just need to go this way and then pick betray, and then I'll have this whole other, and then I'll go this way and then I'll pick a lie or whatever it was.
Yeah, Allah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, those games are so good. I've been thinking about playing them again too, and I was like, do I have to have the time before the end of the month? I don't know.
I'm definitely gonna play through them, and I'm gonna play through them, record them. I don't know if maybe I'll edit them in time for everything, but I'm gonna play and beat them both because I'm so excited for Zero Escape Time Dilemma. I think the thing is like the creator himself, he says that he's probably the worst one of the worst writers out there. Is the way he says it is because and I understand because he talks about like typically when you make a story you build it around the characters,
Mhm.
whereas his way of storytelling is he creates the story without the characters and then just kind of
Oh,
gets the archetypes and throws them in there, which is why a lot of people will cite that a lot of his characters seem very, one-dimensional and pretty bland. And
sure.
it's because he literally like their sole purpose is to propel the story forward.
Right.
And he's like it's probably terrible because no writer does that. And he's like, so this is why nobody likes my writing. And it's just kind of like I like your
Yeah, I like your writing. You're talk about Ice 9 in the first game.
Oh
like,
my
what video game
gosh.
talks about Ice 9?
Right.
I think the other thing that I'm excited about, we're just going to keep talking about the
Right.
Zero Escape games. I'm excited to see what the game is. And by that, I mean 999 had the Nonary game, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
VLR had the Ally
It-
Betray game.
Yeah. Prisoner's Dilemma.
Yeah, the Prisoner's Dilemma. I want to know what sort of hell I'm going to be putting those characters and myself through, because like part of what I didn't want to do, it was easy in 999 because you could say, all right, well, I'm going to take these combinations of people and we'll go in this door because the math adds up.
Yeah.
So I'm not, for most of your decisions, you're not making a bad decision. But in VLR, a lot of it was like, well, I have to betray this person, and this is going to go really badly for like 4 people because I clicked one button. This
Right.
is terrible.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited because you already have so many things built up for the third game without spoiling anything.
Mhm.
Like the things that they tell you in the in Virtue's Last Reward, the things that they told you, and basically the things that you know was the outcome of what will happen in the third game, like
Right.
possible outcomes.
Right.
You know at least one possible outcome,
Right.
right? So it's just kind of like, what happened to make this outcome?
Right.
Like, how did the things happen to this character? How did
we get here?
What? Where? Like, I want to know from point A to point B what happened in here.
Right.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I literally, this game. I'm so sad that, like, if brainwashing was a thing, if brainwashing could be a thing, the games I wish I could, like, just every time I finish putting it down, that I could just forget everything about would be the Zero Escape series, because
Yep.
I think that's the one, like, this is one of those games that you can't have that first experience ever again. It's gone after you beat it the first time. It's like there's no way to relive the epiphanies you have.
Yeah.
Just over and over. And then the second playthrough is just as exciting as the first for me, because then it's me trying to see how many times was this game trying to pull a wool over my eyes.
Right. How many
over
times is it
things.
telling you what's going on?
And then I just wasn't paying attention to whatever it was.
Yeah, for me, I would agree with those, and I would add on Steins Gate. To me,
Oh,
Steins
yeah.
Gate is a very similar experience to 999 and VLR, where sort of you hit something and you're like, oh, wait, oh, that doesn't, wait, that's actually important. You know, like, oh, this is crazy. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That is a game that I am so looking forward to. So
But Kingdom Hearts is actually really good too.
I know Kingdom
Just
Hearts
totally
is really
different.
good. And I'm totally down to playing it, but then I thought to myself, because the reason why I wanted to play Kingdom Hearts is because, of course, I don't think it's going to be this year, but I know it's coming. Is Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming
Right.
out, and I've known that this is a beloved series. So I keep thinking to myself, I really want to play 1 and 2.
I was just going to ask you, do you have the games you want to play mapped out?
Um,
Are you playing the PS3 HD remixes?
I don't know where the other one is, but I have.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yep.
So I have. I thought about waiting for what is it? What is it coming out?
Kingdom Hearts 2.8?
Whatever.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. So
You can't keep doing
The-
this.
the new-
Swear.
he
Okay.
keeps getting away with it.
Stop it. You can't do
Stop
this.
making stuff up.
All right.
Yeah.
Just put the 3 out. Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
they're
it.
getting close where it's like they're counting down. They're counting
Oh
up
my
to 10
God.
and you're doing 9.8,
It's
9.9.
gonna be 2.95, guys.
I will set this
2.95.
place on fire.
I'm just like,
Well, that'll happen when they release the new, Vita or DS game, and then
Oh
tack
my
on the
God.
cutscenes from that on the
That's
2
true.
and everything else in it.
I want to yank out my hair. I'm like, you can't keep doing this, okay, guys? You've done it enough.
Yeah, because I think the hard part is, I think Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are both required playing, but I think Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is really interesting because it picks up 2 seconds after the ending cutscene of 1, and it ends 2 seconds after the opening, like 2 seconds before the opening cutscene in 2. So it's like this bridge that slots in really nicely.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, because, oh my gosh, I want to play Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which I realized today, the reason why it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I realized today, and it's because, what are the initials when you put it backwards?
Oh.
SMT. That's the reason why it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
All right, well... Last horse through the gate.
So I realized that today because I was like, what a weird name. Why would you name it that? And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And then I was like, oh, you guys think you're clever.
Yeah, all right. Too clever for me, apparently.
That's the only way I remember the name of that game.
Really?
Because, like, I knew about the thing, like, I heard the title, and then in the same article that told me the title, it explained the SMT thing. And ever since then, I'm always like, what's it called? Well, the first word has to be a T, right? It's
right. Man.
What country does it come from? Okay.
Right.
The Mirage and the Sessions part is what I have trouble remembering.
Yeah.
M word.
Oh, no, I...
do with anything. It's not Mega 10.
Right.
So I think I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to, because I have to play that game, so I think I might stream that game along with Valkyria Chronicles, the Game Club game.
Right.
I'm gonna stream those two.
Get as far as you can in that game.
Get as far as I can. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care what comes my way on Zero Escape release day.
The 28th.
There will be like, I will shutter all windows and nobody will hear from me because I will be knee deep in some Zero Escape.
Me and my Vita are gonna be best friends.
So you're literally gonna have 5 days with Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Right, listen.
You know what? I'll fit as much as I can in that time, but
I will be walking around everywhere I go, the grocery store, everywhere I go, there will be a Vita in my hand, and I'll just be like, I need to beat this game.
Yeah.
I need to. I mean, I remember when Virtue's Last Reward came out, I just pretty much, I didn't do anything besides Virtue's Last Reward until I beat it. And then once I beat it, I was like, I have to play this game again because I need to see, I need to check something right now.
I mostly don't want to get it spoiled, especially since we're on the third game.
Right.
Like,
it'd
be pretty easy to spoil at this point.
And hell will rain upon anybody who dares spoil this game for me.
Exactly.
There will be no rest, no peace. So those are the only games that I've played, and I mean things that I'm looking forward to. Apparently,
the only other RPG that I played this month, other than Bravely Second, is my wife and I have been got back into Borderlands the pre-sequel. We bought it originally on 360 when it came out, like 15 years ago at this point. And it didn't grab us at all. And when it came out on PS4, we bought it again, and we're like, all right, let's give it the old college try this time. Like, we've got a fresh start. Let's try it. And it absolutely didn't grab us. And we were looking for something to play together because we haven't played anything together for a while.
Yeah.
And we picked up pre-sequel, and we're like, all right, let's just get past the intro stuff. Everybody says that's the worst part. Let's just get over that huge hump and let's get into the game proper. And once you get past that horrible, really, really bad intro stuff, and once you get to Concordia and take care of the Marif stuff at the very beginning, like almost immediately after that, it's an entirely different game, and it's way better. It's crazy.
I'm trying to remember how far I got because I remember being very, very done with the game when I played it.
You probably got to that same point where like you get to Concordia and they have you do like 3 or 4 missions in the city, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I want to be back out there.
Is that like a main hub or?
Yeah, that's like the sanctuary from Borderlands 2. Like that's your big city.
Yeah, I remember I got to the main hub, I guess, of what it was, and I had like a couple of quests to leave there, a couple of driving things.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And I
Still
just
not good.
remember, I was like, why? Why is driving so bad?
Why do you do this to me?
Just stop.
Yeah.
Like it's fine to have bad driving vehicles, you know, but then like to require me to do something correctly with this, I
Yep.
hate you for it.
It's another one of those they didn't learn from 2 where it's like, hey, here's this terrible chasm. You need to jump it. Go figure it out. Good luck. But
Yeah.
thankfully, like, you finish all the Marif stuff there, and then we just kind of we ignored all the side quests for a little bit just to get over that hump. And once we finished like 1 or 2 more story missions, it kind of took the training wheels off and said, all right, go play Borderlands. Like, there's a bunch of side quests. You have the weapon grinder available, so you can throw 3 weapons in and out. It spits out a new weapon, which will potentially be of a higher quality. You start getting weapons, you start getting laser weapons, and you start getting weapons that freeze enemies, and you finally start cracking into your skill trees, and it all kind of comes together at once where you're like, oh, okay, now I kind of want to keep playing this.
There is one thing about that game that I really really hated. What besides the vehicle driving, which is whatever, and I'm kind of curious if this improves. Oxygen.
Yeah, that was a concern for me.
I hated that.
As soon as you get your first oxygen kit upgrade, you can ignore it. Like, it's such a non-issue at that point.
Okay.
And even when you run out of oxygen, it starts really, really slowly taking from your health. So it's not like, thankfully they didn't, do that you ran out of oxygen and you're just dead.
Right.
Alternately, you can play as Claptrap, and oxygen is never an issue throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I think what happened was I was playing some other character and I got to the town and I was like, I am done with oxygen, man.
Yeah.
I am done with this.
I think you get an upgrade like in that town, and I think it almost doubles your oxygen. And like at that point, it's not even a problem anymore. So,
all right.
But I mean, like, you were in the same spot we were, where it's like there's so many little things. It's like death by 1,000 cuts with the first 3 hours of that game, where it's like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to jump over another chasm. Jack is yelling at me all the time, and stupid oxygen, like, and I can't even get health regen. Like, that was driving us crazy forever. Is I can't regen my health, and there's no health around. Like, what is happening? Also, enemies start dropping oxygen too.
Okay.
So, like, thankfully, I kind of don't know why it's even in the game, because it very quickly isn't an issue.
I think that was just kind of like, I don't like underwater levels in games.
Right.
Why are you giving me underwater level for permanently in this
like
game?
Underwater level the game.
I hate you for it.
Yeah.
So I remember I quickly burnt out of the pre-sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thankfully it seems much better. I think we're probably we haven't had a ton of time to play in like an individual session. I think the only thing we've been a little bit frustrated with so far is the story missions themselves are pretty long. I think the last one we did was like an hour and a half, which is fine because there's checkpoints, but I think with how we play Borderlands, we kind of want to start the mission and then finish the whole thing in one sitting, and an hour and a half for one individual mission feels like it's a little too long. So we've been knocking out a bunch of side quests, some of which are really good, some of which sort of overstay their welcome a little too long, but that's kind of Borderlands side quests. But overall, I've been pretty happy with how it's been going. So so far it seems like once you get over that hump, it's good.
Yeah.
But that initial speed bump is really, really tall.
It's really weird.
Yeah. But that's all I've been playing. So I don't know if you guys need to take a break. If not, we'll scooch right into releases.
My dog is freaking out. Really wants to go outside. So can you give me just a minute and I'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break.
Okay. Come on, Tess. Go outside.
Sorry, I got distracted about Zero Time Dilemma in Persona 5.
No, I keep forgetting that Zero Time Dilemma is actually coming out this month.
Why is my computer freaking out? What is happening?
Is I keep as soon as it was announced, I like pushed it right out of my brain. I just said, okay, it's coming out. We know that for sure. It's coming out in America. I'm going to pre-order it so I get the cool watch edition again.
Right.
And then I am forgetting about it. It's kind of like me in Persona 5, where it's like, if I think about it, I get too excited about it. Or I'm like, ooh.
This is a game that I thought for sure we were never going to get, and I was in despair about it.
Yeah, I thought we'd never get another one after 999. I'm like, this game is too weird and too good, and it's a visual novel with puzzles, and it's never gonna happen.
Especially when you know that Japan themselves pretty much showed that they hated that game.
Yep, which is usually the death knell.
Yeah, that means like if you can't succeed in your own country, they're probably not gonna fund you.
It's not looking good.
And then pretty much when I heard that the company had basically shoved him out, I thought to myself, I'm like, that's it. This guy
we got
is done for.
And they teased us for another one, and it's just never gonna happen.
And of course, people like begged him for to go to Kickstarter, and he just said, no, if I can't succeed.
Yeah, like he wanted to do it kind of the traditional way.
Right.
Yeah, which I don't blame him. I mean, those games probably aren't the most expensive to make, but I don't think they would be incredibly cheap to make.
Yeah.
I think with just the level of complexity, like, I can't even imagine the scenario that is written for VLR. 999 is a little bit more straightforward, but like the paths that game goes, not only in gameplay but just in the scenario, are crazy. And I can't even imagine how much time and manpower that must have taken just to get all that stuff lined up correctly.
From what he said is that the third game has already been written. He had already had it written. It was ready.
After 2, I sort of assumed.
Yeah. So he already had the whole layout for it. Now I'm sure from going from the first to the second one, maybe he didn't have a clear cut thing because maybe he didn't realize if it was going to work or not. But I from what I understand, he was ready with the third one, but the company was just like, nope, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's the saddest thing ever.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, I'm really glad.
We can vote with our wallets. And they announced the Steins Gate Zero is getting released in North America, I think, late this year. So no 10-year delay to get the second one translated on the first one. I'm so looking forward to that one. Thankfully, we're getting visual novels in America.
And sometime this year, we're going to be getting Danganronpa 3.
I can't believe that's happening either. I would have figured after the first one that would have been over. It's
been such a runaway success, and for some reason, that one does well in Japan. For whatever reason that Zero Escape didn't, Danganronpa does go well.
It's coming out on PC too. I think the first one is already out.
It is already out.
Yeah.
I saw the first one, and I was like, I'm just gonna put this in my wanted list, even though I'm not buying it yet. But
yeah, vote with your wallet a little bit. Steam sale.
Oh my gosh, Danganronpa is it's really good in a Game of Thrones way.
Yeah, so. I have my little cart here for the first one that I still need to go in my Vita, and I need to finish it. Someday I just need to sit down.
You haven't beaten it?
No, because I just need to sit down someday and pull up a FAQ and just get through it. I'm not worried about the puzzles, and I'm not worried about. I just want to experience it.
Oh my gosh! Do you remember exactly where you may have
I would have
stopped?
to restart it.
Okay.
I don't think I was too deep into it.
Did any deaths occur?
I don't even remember. I started playing it as soon as it came out, and I bombed out pretty soon. Hey, Musin, what are you doing over there? Don't worry, I just checked mine too.
I might be doing my Avengers Academy. uh,
Please, nobody pick up Avengers Academy. I can't ruin any more lives.
it's yeah, I feel bad. Like I feel like I recommended it enough for you to play, and then you got knobs to play, and I feel bad that I've done that to both of you now.
It's so good though, but it's not. Don't download it. Save yourself.
It's very entertaining. It's simultaneously like really entertaining and horribly stressful.
Yeah, I'm searching for a new job in the IT industry right now. That's less stressful than Avengers Academy.
It uses real life minutes as your experience.
Yeah,
grinding.
It's taking away your time. All right, you guys ready to spend probably about 10 minutes on the second segment?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for June 2016. Atelier Sophie, The Alchemist of the Mid-Series book for PlayStation 4 and PS Vita, coming out on the 7th. I'm still waiting for one of these games for someone to say, like, this is the one. If you haven't played any of the other ones, this is the one to start with. Haven't heard that about this one. So
or the what is it? The PS2 sequel that they did, the Altair, whatever, was supposed to be really good.
Yeah, I've heard that about like a couple of them where it's like these ones are really good, but you didn't play this other one and you don't really know. So I don't know. Odin Sphere Left for the Thurser comes out on the PS4 and the PS Vita on the 7th. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's the Odin Sphere HD remake. I downloaded the demo and played it for a couple minutes. I went, wow, this looks really great. It's still Odin Sphere, so I'm excited to play that. Had to cancel my pre-order, but I'll get it eventually.
Yeah. Well, and that original PS2 copy is going to be worth way more than anything else anyway. But.
Yeah, and I 100%ed the first Odin Sphere. I got all the endings and beat all the optional stuff, and I am very excited to do that again.
Well, and I never... the original one, I only got to the second character, to that bunny thing, and
that was a little rough. That chapter.
Yeah, and I'm excited to give it a whole new chance and to have a really cool collector's edition thing of it to go with it. So,
coming out on the 21st, Grand Kingdom for the PS4 and PS Vita. That looks like another sort of mid-budget. NIS, Axis, Atlas strategy RPG. So that it kind of just goes in the list. Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE is, I think, how you pronounce it. Coming out on the Wii U on the 24th. I think all of us are going to pick it up. So check this time next month. And I've heard it's really good. I've almost everybody who has played a significant amount of it says that it's really, really good, but it's really weird. And I say, yes.
Those are big selling points for me.
Yeah, Atlas makes a weird game that's really good, and I will follow them into hell. God Eater Resurrection comes out on the PS4 and the PS Vita on the 28th. Poor God Eater just has not really grabbed a hold in North America, and I feel like this is probably its last chance to do so here. So if you're interested in God Eater, I've heard they're really good. Probably pick up the PS4 version, I guess. Easier to play with your friends, I'm assuming. Yeah. Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness comes out on the PS4 on the 28th. I am not the biggest Star Ocean fan, but this looks okay.
So I played Till the End of Time, which was the PS2 version, PS2 Star Ocean.
That was the third one, right?
The third one, yes. And then after I played that one, I think I played one on the PSP.
Okay. I started the one that came out on 360 and PS3, and it rubbed me wrong at every single turn for like the first 5 hours.
Wait, is that The Last Hope?
Yes.
I heard terrible things about that one.
It was
terrible.
It's it's the one that has that girl that says "mk" a lot. Like you've probably seen footage or screenshots. It was
I may have, but
bad.
I know nothing about it because the only thing I remember was that must have come out in a heavy
I
gaming
think it
time
did.
period, and I just didn't pick it up for whatever reason. And then like the words just
Yeah.
flooded everywhere with "this is terrible," and I was like, ah, I'm staying away from you.
Yeah, it's I know there are some people that really liked it, and apparently it hits a point where it gets really good and kind of tosses a lot of that bad stuff away. But I think you're right. I think it came at a point where there was a lot of other stuff coming out that was way better, and I'm like, well, never mind about this. Jeez.
Yeah, I've got other things to play.
Yeah.
Games that I know are good.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, it's been probably about 3 minutes since we talked about it. Zero Time Dilemma comes out on PS Vita and 3DS on the 28th. Comes out on Steam on the 30th. So I don't believe that either of the first two games are on Steam yet, or if they're even planned to come out. But don't buy the iOS version of $9.99. You can find the DS version for super cheap. Surprisingly, it got a second reprint, and the price went way down. All right, let's move on to news stories. Mina's probably very excited. Dragon Quest Builders is coming west this fall, just in time for the 30th anniversary. It seems like it's only coming out physically and digitally on PS4 and digital only on the Vita. Unsurprisingly, no PS3 version. But this seems kind of cool, where it seems like it takes building cues from stuff like Minecraft and then kind of smushes those ideas into Dragon Quest, which seems pretty cool, actually. And I've heard it's
That
really good.
this is their solution to the fact that they can't have Minecraft.
Right.
So
Well, we have adorable stuff too, like slimes. Take that.
yeah, I saw I've heard some complaints about the game, but it looks too adorable, and I'm like, I need it. It's too cute.
It's like that World of Final Fantasy game where it's like, this is too cute. I have to pick it up. Like, it might be total garbage, but look how adorable Cloud looks. I can't take it. On the other end of the spectrum, Mass Effect Andromeda is now officially, for real, almost entirely positively due early 2017. That has been pretty much the plan for a while now, but it seems like there was an investment, one of those investments earnings calls, and they said, like, yeah, it's coming, first calendar quarter of 2017. So maybe we'll be done with Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15 and all this other stuff by the time that comes out. Hopefully.
Yeah, like at first I was bummed when it got moved back, but with so much other stuff coming out that's really good this year, I'm kind of glad for it now.
Yeah. And last news story, and certainly the most important one, in 8 days from this time of recording, Final Fantasy V Forge Out Fiesta starts yet again. We have talked about it so much on the show, and I can't recommend Forge Out Fiesta enough. If you haven't played Final Fantasy V, it's probably not the best way to start Final Fantasy V. If you've started and haven't finished it, Forge Out Fiesta might push you sort of over the edge. There are new options again this year. There's one where every time you get a crystal, all of your party members need to change their job to the new job and can't go back to the previous one, which is kind of crazy. But for anybody that hasn't played it, use your Twitter account and sign up. You will get random characters. You can just play a regular run where you don't get sort of screwed into anything else. People will probably ask, like, what's the best version of Final Fantasy V? Game Boy Advance version is the best one. It has the best bugs that work in your favor. Every version of Final Fantasy V has bugs. And every other version is fine except for the PlayStation version. Just don't play it. You don't want to play Final Fantasy with loading times between battles. It's not good. There's so many things that aren't good. The iOS and the Android versions are obviously graphically a little weird, but otherwise they play fine. So I think Mina and I are both going to be doing it this year. And Musum, you were on the fence a little bit so far?
It's one of those things. Hearing you guys talk about it, I always want to do it. But like, I mean, Tuesday, Odin Sphere and Mirror's Edge comes out, and then Tokyo Mirage Sessions comes out a couple weeks later. Like, the earliest I could do something like this would be like July, unless I can somehow wean myself off of the destructive heroin that is Avengers Academy.
Right. Well, thankfully it lasts until August 31st, so you have plenty enough time, and the game really is only about 20 hours long. So for in Final Fantasy terms, it's a short afternoon's play.
Is that out for Steam?
Yes, that version is on sale right now, I believe, for like $7 or $8.
Is that the iOS version kind of thing?
So it looks kind of crummy, but apparently has good controller support and runs really well, and you don't have to emulate it or anything like that. So you don't have to play it on your tiny little screen. So there's plenty of options. As long as you don't play the PlayStation 1 version, you're fine. So, it's so bad. But that's it for news stories and releases, and actually we don't have any emails or tweets this month, so as PUP usually does, hour long in the front, 10 minutes in the back. Thank you very much everyone for listening. If you'd like to visit us, do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Email us at fans@pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickingupPixels, no the in there. Musim, where can we find you?
Let's see. You can buy my music at musim, musim.bandcamp.com, and you can listen to the other podcast I do, the Carousel Podcast, on iTunes and all those things. And the website is thecarouselpodcast.com.
And Mina, where are you located on the internet?
You can find me on both Twitch and also YouTube under Mina KO Rocket.
And you can find my other show at tvgp.tv. Go play the Game Club game. Valkyria Chronicles is really good and just came out on PS4 for $30. So it is a steal. And you can find my YouTube stuff at bostonhannon.com. And thank you very much, Musim and Mina, for joining me yet again.
Pleasure as always.
It's fun.
And our adventure continues next month. And we're done. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Appreciate it. We had a bunch of people hanging out and chatting with us. Always appreciate all you fine ladies and gents hanging out with us and chatting. We will see you next month. Bye.
Bye.